Hey guys, welcome to Boxing Squared for boxing news and views from around the internet. If you like a little bit of comedy gold, then this one is probably for you. Richard Lartey, the little-known African WBO strap holder who takes on Daniel Dubois on April 27th, he is saying that Dubois is not the next Anthony Joshua. He is. So he has basically taken a few shots at Dubois, and we'll get to this. So this press release on frankwarren.com. There's also a couple of other bits and pieces. It's really a hard sell at this point. Out of Africa comes danger for Dubois. Column by Alan Hubbard. A few bits and pieces we'll touch on. But one of the problems with this fight that they've had is no one really knows who Richard Lartey is. Even people who follow heavyweight boxing closely have only ever seen limited footage of Lartey. He has zero profile almost. He's better known for having pulled out of fights with the likes of Junior Farr and Joe Joyce in 2018. And the one time that he did leave Africa, fought a guy in Switzerland, I believe it was, he lost that fight, and that was a number of years ago now. Hasn't really fought anyone of note. Some of the opponents that he has been fighting, extremely late notice opponents or former cruiserweights, even a former middleweight on his record. So it's really hard to get a good gauge on Richard Lartey, how good he is and what he really brings to this fight. From the limited footage that is on YouTube, it appears, he's got a decent punch, but, who really knows what's going to sort of turn up on April the 27th at the Wembley Arena. But so this article, this press release goes, Richard Lartey claims that his April 27 heavyweight opponent Daniel Dubois has been spoon-fed a diet of mismatched opposition across his professional career to date. That's some pot calling the kettle black sort of stuff there. It really is. His record is far thinner than Daniel Dubois. Dubois has a few notable journeymen on his record, and most recently fought former world title contender or title challenger Razvan Kajanu. Richard Lartey has got nothing approaching that level of opponent on his record. Albeit, Kajanu isn't any great shakes anymore, but some of the opposition like Kevin Johnson and Razvan Kajanu, better names than anything that is on Lartey's record. Although in Africa it can be hard to get decent opponents, and often you do see that guys are coming up and down weights to fight different guys. The Ghanaian 14-1 takes on the 10-0 Dubois at the SSE Arena Wembley, live on BT Sport, and will attempt to halt the impressive rise of the 21-year-old Londoner, who has drawn comparisons in some quarters with the progression of Anthony Joshua at the same stage of the Olympic gold medalist's career. Yeah, I think some of the comparisons sort of died off a little bit with the recent Kevin Johnson fight at the back end of 2018. There had been a lot of pushing by Frank Warren trying to build those comparisons with Joshua, get fans sort of thinking, of Dubois in a similar light. But the performance against Johnson was nothing like the performance that Anthony Joshua put in against Kevin Johnson years earlier. So some of that hype and some of the buzz around Daniel Dubois, it just sort of faded to some extent. People stopped talking about him maybe in the same breath that they had been prior to that Johnson fight, albeit he's had a very good win since against Razvan Kajanu, stopped him in a couple of rounds. Dubois has already collected 4 belts in his 10 fights so far, so we're not going to go through that. So Lartey says Daniel's opponents have been terrible, said the 6'5" executor of 11 KOs. They have been feeding him baby food. Now they're trying to feed him premium African steak. Big mistake. People are saying Daniel is the next Anthony Joshua, but they are wrong. It's me. I am the next Anthony Joshua, and I will be champion, not Daniel. And that's pretty much it. It goes into, the card, all that sort of stuff. Yeah, it's a bit of a laugh, but, how serious is he? I mean, if he really believes some of this, I guess boxers to some extent, they do have levels of delusion that maybe are above the average person, because they have to have that self-confidence, that self-belief. Maybe he really believes that he is the next biggest thing in the heavyweight division. Although I think on the strength of some of these statements that we've just gone through, that he is going to be the next Anthony Joshua, that he is African steak and he is going to take out Daniel Dubois. Many people will just find that completely laughable. But, you know, it's boxing. Who knows what could happen? But it does feel like the hard sell here for this fight, because no one's really been talking about it. No one's really looking that forward to it, because there's just, you know, there's Daniel Dubois who's got some buzz and hype around him, but Lartey, there's nothing really doing there. But Alan Hubbard, he's written a column sort of talking about some African fighters who've travelled across to the UK over the years and put on credible performances, different wins, all that sort of stuff. He sort of says here, not that Dubois seems to be phased, but then he never is. He knows that the might he holds in his mitts can answer any awkward question on the night. Nonetheless, he should bear that in mind. Such men as the relatively little-known Lartey are dangerous, just as Tiger was, and that's referring to something earlier in the article. It goes on to say, but as yet Africa has never produced a black world heavyweight champion. If the 6'5" Richard Lartey believes he has the makings of one, then he will have to show a lot of Aristotle, and then in brackets, bottle to we cockneys, against the best young heavyweight in the world on April 27. Should be fun while it lasts. Yeah, Lartey does appear from the limited footage that's available to be a decent puncher. So this could be sort of fireworks for a round or two, or it could be all over in the first 30 seconds. Who really knows? Because it's hard to say, hard to get a beat on Richard Lartey and how good he really is. And so the promotion of him hasn't been that great, but they're really trying to jazz this up to get people interested and sort of pulled into this upcoming event. But yeah, I'm just not feeling it right now. But some of these statements make it even worse because it's just laughable. What do you make of it all? Drop a comment, loud and often. Hit like, hit subscribe, follow me on Twitter, boxing_squared. I'm out.